what we can do now is we can look at some details, and hopefully you're seeing, I mean, on the green clothes here, oh sorry, you're out of focus there. Hopefully what you're seeing on the green clothes now here is, you know, we're seeing all that dry brushing is really sort of giving this life, right? Looking nice. And what we want to do now is, now we've done all that, we can do our tiny little details, you know, whatever you want to do. I mean, you could paint on flags or maybe get decals for flags. I'm just going to quickly, you know, maybe try and represent a bit of a blue pen, you know, maybe some pen tips, you know, bit of you know, some nice blue and red. I'm just cleaning that paintbrush off. Right, bit of blue and red, just a nice little bit of detail. As I say, if you've got decals to maybe put flags on or markings on, that's really nice if you can do that. And then what we can do, getting a bit of Ruin Fang steel, what we can do now is we can just kind of, you know, paint these buckles on any straps. Any straps you can find, right, and we just want to just nicely paint these up just to bring them out. And if you can just like paint the edges of the straps as well, it makes it look a lot cooler. Got a little strap just there, one just underneath here as well, and there we go. Just nicely gives you that little bit of detail just to bring it out a little bit more. So there we go, that is basically all the painting done. So what we want to do, we want to get our head, we want to cut it off the sprue, nice and easy, no real problems there. Right, we could probably get a quick sanding stick, right, just to smooth off the bottom so it goes, sorry, off camera again, so it goes on to our body a bit better. Don't have to worry about the paint work, because we're probably going to glue it right underneath there. So what we want to do, that's fitting well after test fitting it, getting out a bit of Tamiya extra thin cement. Right, we can put a little blob right there, nice and easy, and then we can put our head on just like that. Get it in position the way you want it, looking forward. Right, and there we go, we're starting to look good now. We got our head on, and then we've also got another piece here, little hose. Let's give that a cut. Right, maybe just trim underneath a little bit where we've cut it off, or sand, it's up to you. There we go. Now you're probably thinking, oh no, you know, we've got to repaint this. Well, yes, we probably will have to repaint that, but it's not a big deal. And then what we want to do is we want to try and get this glued onto here. So let's get a little blob where our hose is going to go, and that way it gives us something to stick to. Maybe come in with a blade or something, get it positioned how you want it. And then we can come in and sort of get it glued in properly. Right, it's just moved. Don't worry, don't panic, just nicely position it back the way you want it. And then come back with the glue and glue it in all the other positions. And that should hold nicely then. So then there's our pilot, but we need to let it dry, because we don't want to knock it or anything like that. Let's let it dry, let's have a bit of a tidy up. So now we've done all our painting, what we want to do, we want to lock this in and make sure our paintwork is all nice and protected. And what I like to do is simply coming back to some good old Future, zoom you out, nice bit of Future that I've put into this nice little pot here, just so I can actually get it in the colour cup a lot easier. And there is a video on this on the website. We only need to put a bit in there, and what we want to do is just nice and lightly put on a nice light coat. Alright, all over, nice and even. It's going to start looking all shiny because it's a gloss coat, obviously. And there we go. Bring you in. There you go, there's our pilot. We put a gloss coat on it, nice and quick, looks all nice and shiny, and that's going to lock it in, it's going to protect it. So let's let that dry. So while that's drying, we want to clean our airbrush out from the Future. Now let's pour out whatever's left in there into the bin, out the way, and then just getting a kitchen paper towel. Right, what I like to do is I do find that Mr. Colour Leveling Thinners is really good for sort of breaking up and really sort of getting our Future kind of nicely cleaned out of our air cup. So we've got our thinners in there. Do the whole, pinch the needle end and just start to bring the bubbles out, you know, get it working in, get the bubbles sort of breaking it up like so, and then we can just simply tip it upside down and work it out just the same way as you would any quick kind of colour change, but we're using Mr. Colour Thinners. Right, and I like to just give it one little blast of that stuff because it really breaks it up, and then we come back to our airbrush cleaner and go through the whole process with that as well, doing the bubbles until it's looking clean, which it is. Tip it upside down, making sure the bits come out through the colour cup end, and then we can just start to blast through a nice bit through the needle end until it's looking clean. Now, me personally, because I do a lot of spraying, I do this as a living, I like to put a bit of airbrush cleaner just in there and leave it in there just to keep things all nice and moist. But for someone who maybe does it occasionally, you might want to just break it down and clean it up at the end of the day. Now that our gloss has dried, what we want to do is we want to get it matte again. We've got a protective coat down, but we don't want it all shiny, we want him to be matte. So using some matte UV varnish, there is a video on how to use this product on the Genesis Models website. I think it's under product reviews or tutorials, one of the two. We can just pour in a little bit into our colour cup, we don't need a lot. Right, and we do the same again, we just give it a nice even coat all round. It does dry rather quick, so you know you can put a coat on after coat sort of thing until it just starts looking all nice and matte. Make sure you get into all the nooks and crannies. Right, there's a lot of different angles you need to get with miniatures, but that's looking quite nice and matte now. Hopefully you like that. So with all our matte nicely dried now, what we want to do, we want to add a nice little effect. I want to get a bit of gloss UV varnish by Winsor & Newton, and what we're going to do, we're just going to dip our nice Winsor & Newton Series 7 paintbrush in there. Get a nice bit of gloss on the end, and what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to paint just his front bit on his helmet here. Just get a bit more on the end of our brush, not too much. Alright, so hopefully what you're seeing here, the rest of the miniature looks matte, but where it's all supposed to be nice and shiny and glossy, it is nice and shiny and glossy, and it just adds that nice little bit of an effect just to make you see that it is a shiny flat surface there on the helmet, compared to like what is matte and what is supposed to be glossy. And we just let that dry, and that is it. So hopefully you've enjoyed that nice step-by-step video build of being able to paint a nice basic miniature, nice and easy. I mean, you can't really get any easier than that. We just simply painted down a nice base coat all over the model with the different colours. Can't get any easier than that. Slapping on a nice bit of a wash, which is nice, basic, easy, not really hard at all. Gives you that nice level of shadows and creases and stuff. And then a brush and dry brushing. Dry brushing is then another easy technique to do, just to bring out raised areas, and then just simply, you know, protecting it with a gloss coat, nice matte coat, doing a bit of glossy bits here and there. I mean, you know, you can't really get any easier than that. So hopefully for those of you who are not very you don't like painting miniatures to go with your models or anything like that, hopefully, you know, this has given you a nice way of doing a nice, quick, easy, effective miniature. In the future I do have plans to do some really nice miniatures where we're going to be doing all sorts of proper layers, proper highlighting, and doing it on a much more professional level, as well as dealing with faces, which is why I kind of did the whole helmet thing, because faces, they can be a bit harder. So we'll look into all that in another step-by-step video build in the future here at Genesis Models. So hopefully you've enjoyed.